Just when you thought there were some people that had some sense in the WNBA, you find out that they really just don't. It is a recurring theme in the WNBA that logic and sense do not exist when it comes to speaking about this sport and the incredible growth and trajectory the sport took over the last, we're in March, 10 months. 10 months. I want to give a shout out to the Pope, be frank, because I saw him do a video on this. And bro, I'm just gonna tell you, I gotta steal your idea because I saw your video on this, homie, and I gotta do a video on this too. This crap, watching your video, first of all, I was dying on the floor laughing. But beyond that, I'm listening. I've talked about this particular podcast in the past and comments that they made. And now they got Napheesa Collier on their podcast. And it's just painful. It's utterly painful. But I'm going to share this parts of the podcast. I don't think I'm going to go through the whole video, but I'm going to share parts of it and have some commentary on it because man, I did a short on this on Instagram and it's gotten over 35,000 views already in less than 18 hours. Well, let's talk about this. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, powered by Come On Down the podcast. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont, aka Rudy the Hammer. Let's jump on in. But thank you all for those of you who have here before and you came back again. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. For those of you who are new, I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity. I hope you enjoyed the content. Drop a like, leave a comment, ring that bell, and let me know your thoughts. Let's jump on in. Napheesa Collier was on this podcast, and she was asked a number of questions about what she was most excited about. And then she made a lot of comments about it. And the fact that she's most excited, not about potentially winning a championship or playing for a championship or whatever, but she's most excited about the collective bargaining agreement. Let's show you what she had to say.
Well, let's just jump right in because recently you did something you did a couple things that are so amazing that I really wanted to note, but you partnered with Unrivaled and Icy Hot to give 10K bonuses for International Women's Day to your training staff. You wanted to make sure that you were thanking them for helping with the league and the stars to recover and stay healthy and all of those good things. It was actually you and Arike that did this together. What did it mean to you to give back and say thank you in this way?
It means a lot. And, the training staff, they just work so incredibly hard. Their hours are so long because as athletes, we're here, all hours of the day, and we might be here for 2 hours, but spread out, they're here for, 16 hours a day. And they are the people, the unsung heroes that you don't see, that are the ones that get us prepared to go out and do our best on the court, who help us recover or do whatever it is to make our bodies feel good. And so I thought it was just important to say thank you to them. It's a pretty thankless job with.
That's really sweet, actually. That's real sweet. She said that we might be here. We might be here 2 hours a day, sporadically throughout the day, but they're here all day. This just goes back and shows how much they don't actually work at their game. We might be here 2 hours a day. There's 24 hours in a day. Isn't this a job? I mean, my job requires some time, definitely more than 2 hours a day. Maybe 2 hours a day, which includes also massage and getting a facial and a pedicure and a manicure, since that's so very important in this league, we know. But these are the same trainers that have a bunch of players that are always hurt. Like this whole damn league is hurt. 36 players, and I think 15 of them have suffered injuries at least. At least 15 of them have been injured in 2 months. But yeah, maybe the training staff didn't do as good of a job as we thought. I don't know.
They have to do. And so any way that we can reward them and just show our appreciation to them, I thought was really important. And so everything was deserved for them. For sure.
Looking forward to most about the upcoming season?
The CBA.
Okay.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be really interesting. This is the first one that I've been a part of. The other one happened like basically before I got there. So that's gonna be really fun, just because again, the changes that are happening in the sport, and I feel like Unrivaled is a huge part of that. And taking the leverage that we've been able to garner here and taking that into our CBA and the WNBA, pushing for all the things that we've been getting here, higher salaries, things that we feel like we deserve. I think that's gonna be really interesting. So I'm excited for that.
So you just came off of losing in the WNBA championship, and your excitement for the season is not actual basketball. It's actually a collective bargaining negotiation. Is that what I'm hearing? I'm floored that that would be what you're excited about. Not playing ball, not winning a championship, not potentially competing for a championship again, but the collective bargaining negotiation. That's just weird to me. That's just a very, very odd answer. And the fact of the matter is, she actually refers to Unrivaled as providing leverage. There's no Unrivaled has not provided leverage. I don't know why. I don't know why they think Unrivaled's giving them leverage here. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm gonna put the screen like this. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me that they think that Unrivaled's provided them with leverage. Unrivaled hasn't provided them with any leverage. In fact, the fact that they keep saying this, and I've heard this a few times, is mind blowing. Unrivaled right now is producing horrendous ratings on television. You're basing something on a league that it's brand new, that plays in the same building in front of 12 people, 850, plays in front of nobody. It's in one building, one location. Everyone's staying in that location area, hotel or whatever they done for accommodations. And then you have no debt. There's no debts. Every dollar dropped into this thing is money in pocket. It's not money. There's no debt to be paid. You're not traveling. There's no airlines. There's no flights. There's none of that stuff. You don't have remotely close to the same level of staff members that you do in the WNBA. Every single team individually. So tell me exactly. You're paying them more money because you have the money to give them. That's the thing. You're playing in an 850-foot person building. I don't know what it costs to rent that building. I have no idea. They didn't buy it, but they rented a building. If they were given, they said they had 35 million in capital, and now other people are giving away money. I mean, this world of just donating money is crazy to me. They might as well become a nonprofit organization, because I don't see how in the world they're going to produce ROI to these initial individual investors. Corporate investors is based on advertisement dollars and how many times people see a product. Individual investors want cash back. They want their money plus profit. Are they going to see that? How are they going to see that? I know it's already been pretty much guaranteed that there will be a second year, which is mind-blowing to me in itself. I guess they're really hoping that Caitlin Clark will show up this time. But the fact of the matter is, your ratings have been sub 200,000 literally every single week since the second week of this thing, outside of the one-on-one tournament. You had games where the games have been rated at 100,000 people, watching. Under 100,000 have been some. How many people will watch this weekend coming up, going against March Madness? They even have games scheduled against the selection show. Like, why would you do that? This lack of logic. There should be a game tonight and games tomorrow. Instead, they're doing the thing on Sunday and Monday for their playoffs, their semis, and their championship. No sense whatsoever to this thing. But Unrivaled doesn't provide you leverage. Just because you're paying people more money to play in Unrivaled, it's because you have no debt. There's no CBA in Unrivaled. There's no collective bargaining in Unrivaled. We still don't know who's making what in Unrivaled. You don't have a salary cap in Unrivaled. So you can choose to pay them whatever you want. But again, you've got no debt. There's no debts. You don't owe will the NBA ever get paid back? The millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars that it's owed from the losses? Let's be real here.
I'm excited to see it too. There's been a lot of conversation here lately about a potential walkout. What are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, I feel like everything's on the table when it comes to the CBA, but specifically with that, people have been talking a lot about it. So what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, it's something that we're talking about internally, like to, be prepared for. Of course, no one wants that situation to happen, but I do feel like there's some topics that we have in mind that, we have to stand strong in what we believe in too. We have to stand up for what we feel is right and what we feel we deserve. And so while we don't want that situation to happen, of course, I think we're prepared for any possibility right now.
This is mind-blowing. More nonsensical shit. Again, let me explain to people the difference between a walkout and a lockout. A walkout is a strike. That means they are going to go on strike. You know when you're going to go on strike? You go on strike to leverage against the ownership. You know when you get locked out? You get locked out when you do not have a collective bargaining agreement in place. That is when you get locked out. They opted out of the CBA last year, and the CBA expires at the end of this season. It was supposed to end at the end of 27. It's now ending after this season. What does that mean? That means they opted out of that CBA. If you are going to go on strike, you're going to go on strike in May. You're not going to go on strike mid-season. You're not going to go on strike at the end of the season. You want to know why you're not going on strike at the end of the season? Because you won't be able to go on strike. You would get locked out. You are not in control here. You have no leverage here. People don't care if your sport goes away. People care about baseball. They care about the NBA. They care about the NFL. They do not care about the WNBA, largely. So if you go on strike, that means you're going to do it now, well, April, May, and say, we're not coming to work. Well, do it. That's what a walkout is. There's a serious lack of business education amongst these players. They don't seem to know the difference. If the owners lock them out, the owners are the ones to blame. If they go on strike, they become the ones to blame. Either way, whichever happens, if either happens, and I don't think either will happen, it will be devastating to the momentum that the league has built this past season. It's just that simple. And you will lose people who were supporting you last season. You got to remember, college women's basketball is a bigger draw than the WNBA. It still is. Caitlin Clark's games were drawing in the tournament over 10 million people. The championship, 18 plus million people. She won't have a game that draws 18 million people in the WNBA because those people aren't all following. Many follow, but most are not following. So you have to understand there is a difference between a lockout and a strike. A walkout is a strike. A lockout is the owner saying, we're not opening the doors. You can't come in the building. They don't have the stones to go on strike. Most of the women can't afford to go on strike. You can't tell women that are making 70 grand a year, 80 grand a year, even 100 grand a year. Oh, well, prepare yourself for a work stoppage. Prepare yourself for a strike. They'll look at you like you're crazy, like you're out of your damn.
Absolutely. And you have to, when you look at how things have changed, you've talked about being in this situation right now with where women's basketball is, where the WNBA is. What is the biggest change that you have seen, as being a player as long as you've been? And what are you most proud of accomplishing so far when it comes to being in position to negotiate this CBA?
Yeah, I think the biggest change is honestly like the power of the player. And I think that's changed in sports as a whole. It's like you used to be like an avid team, like even in my household, like the Giants for football, that was my dad's team. and you would follow teams like that, and that's where the loyalties laid or lied or whatever it is, lie. But now it's really player focused, so people are following players more than the teams, and so you're seeing the power shift to the players, and especially for us right now, it's such a power that we hold that I think we need to use correctly again in like our CBA negotiations. And so that I'm really proud of that. And just the way that the game has grown, the recognition of players where you're seeing like stars turn into superstars and people are recognizing you, not just in our niche, like basketball world. Now you'll be walking on the street and someone recognizes you. And, you know, a lot of our players are becoming just more household names. So it's really cool to see that and how quickly it's happening. You know, usually change happens at such a slow rate, it's even hard to notice while it's happening, but this is happening so rapidly. You see the notable differences, like the arenas that were filled up last year, the new eyes and fans that our new college players that are coming in and our rookies are bringing in from their college days. And so the coverage that we're getting, the explosion of new leagues like we have with Unrivaled and the power that that holds. So I think just seeing that I've only had 6 years here, has been such a huge difference than when I first came in.
Well, you see the discourse.
Let's talk about this. This is where it goes just haywire to me with her commentary, is that she is absolutely fucking dense. God bless her, but she is drinking the Kool-Aid that's being spewed to her. She is absolutely dense. This is painful. Let's look at the arenas that she's talking about, how filled they are. The arenas. Here are the arenas that are filled. Right here. This is the arena attendance this past season. You can see who is filling the arena. You can see that the Indiana Fever is at the top of this list. So who filled the arenas? They went from 17,000. The year before, Indiana was at 4,000. Think about that for a second. 17,000 from 4,000 a year earlier. 4,000. And you think that the players that were in the league, had anything to do with this meteoric rise in attendance? The rise in attendance across the WNBA was in large part because of Caitlin Clark in every arena around the country. I do not care what you think. Her appearance increased attendance in every building she went to around the country. 2023, go to 2024, every number grew. It wasn't because of the players that were already there that nobody knew to begin with. It was because she walked into the building, because she walked into the WNBA, and immediately 2.5 million more eyes all of a sudden said, look at this. Do you remember how many people watched the WNBA lottery, the draft? 2.4 million? Do you think there's going to be 2.4 million watching the draft next month? No, no chance. No chance. You have a player who completely is larger than the sport. Michael Jordan is larger than the NBA. Lionel Messi is larger than soccer. Tom Brady is bigger than football. There are athletes who transcend their sport. They're bigger than this. LeBron is bigger than basketball. Caitlin Clark is bigger than the WNBA. She brought 2.5 million people with her. Period. So don't sit here and tell me that your buildings are more full. Yeah, they're more full because of this team right here, Indiana, because of the one player that showed up who changed it for everybody. Because even if your attendance grew as a team from one year to the next, minus the games that she played in your building, people noticed you now because she came into your league. Like, you got to understand that. Like, she changed this league. And instead, we got lip service about Unrivaled. Unrivaled is what changed this league. Unrivaled. You know how many people are watching Unrivaled right now? Under 200,000 a night. The average Indiana Fever game did a 1.15 million per game. All of you were in the same spot, and yet all of y'all combined cannot draw 500,000 people together. Think about this for a second. You would have nights where Angel Reese, Sabrina Ionescu, Napheesa Collier, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Alicia Gray, Brittany Griner, Chelsea Gray, Ryan Howard, who else? Arike Gumbawale could all potentially be playing that night, and yet y'all couldn't draw 500,000 people to watch one night of Unrivaled. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, it's hella exciting for players that have been experiencing an empty building. Absolutely. You must be ecstatic. I don't blame you. You must be ecstatic about it. But don't come at people and tell them, oh, yeah. The growth of the league has been so great, and you don't mention the player that's the reason for the growth of the league. There's a reason the growth happened so fast this past year. And even if you want to throw Angel Reese in the conversation, because she is the second most popular player in the WNBA, that means 2 rookies, of which you named neither of them, are the difference in your league. And you don't even, you say the rookie class. No, name them. But we know who it really is. It's Caitlin Clark, because Angel Reese is playing in Unrivaled and people still ain't watching it. Even her fans aren't watching it. TV ratings are shit. Attendance is 800 people. And you think that's Unrivaled is why? I mean, you're recognized in the street. Why the hell do you think you're recognized in the street? You're recognized in the street because of that one player. Because now people saw you. It's flabbergasting listening to this. Let's just finish this up.
You know, whenever we talk about this, or whenever you talk about it, I'm sure there are people that have comments, because they do, like, inevitably. If you could just explain to them, like, in a very quick sentence or very quickly, what you guys are trying to accomplish, what would it be? Because they always go to, you guys just don't make as much money, so you're not going to get this. And that's not exactly what it is. How would you explain it to, not that you want to, because these people, they just have issues. Let's be clear. But if you were to explain it to them, then what would you say? Because I don't think people understand what you're really trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so we're not asking for the same salaries as the men. We're asking for the same revenue shares, and that's where the big difference is. So we get such a small percentage of revenue share right now that affects our salary. So we're asking essentially for a bigger cut of that, like more equitable to what the men's revenue share is. So it wouldn't get us anywhere close to their salaries. We're not asking for the same salaries. We're asking for the same cut of the pie of what is made in our league.
And listen, it's not going to be that simple to negotiate, but it really is that simple. And I really appreciate you breaking it down for us and sitting down with us today to talk about all of the amazing things that you're doing. It is phenomenal to see. And I have to say, as a woman who has been in sports for years, I'm really proud of all of the work that you're doing because it is pushing the needle in the ways that it needs to. So thank you, Napheesa, for sitting down with us.
So here's the thing. At the end, she talks about revenue sharing, and that's what they want. They don't want the same salaries, they want the same revenue share. The revenue share in the NBA is like basically 50-50. It is 50-50 between teams and players, or 51-49 players and teams, something like that. So understand that every team pays into this pot of money. All right. And that then directly does impact, if I'm not mistaken, salary cap, how players are paid, etc. I don't know what the revenue share number is in the WNBA. Let me see if I can figure it out. Okay. Yeah, it's low. It's definitely low. The revenue share in the WNBA is 9.3%. Now, here's the problem. Here is the big problem. The problem with the whole revenue share component is that the NBA teams actually make money. They make profit. So even after they divide revenue, they split the revenue, the teams still make money. The league still makes money. That's not the case in the WNBA. Teams are not making money. They're not bringing in a profit. So how the hell can I split revenue at a 50-50 rate like the NBA when my TV deal is negotiated by the NBA and what they've given me is a piece of their deal? Could the WNBA negotiate a $2.2 billion TV deal right now, even with Caitlin Clark in the building? Probably not. So they're giving $2.2 billion. Now, some people might disagree with me, but they're giving $2.2 billion by the NBA. They're unnecessarily expanding the league. Just so you know, NBA teams have 15 players on their roster. WNBA teams have 12 players on their roster. But they make money. There's a profit. It's a lot easier to do a revenue share split of 50-50 when I'm making money. Right now, I'm giving you 10% of loss. I'm losing money, but I'm still giving you a share that you haven't earned. This deserve word that gets thrown around in the WNBA is mind-blowing to me. You don't deserve shit. You earn it. I keep using that terminology, and it maddens me. You earn your money. You don't deserve anything. You earn what you have earned. They give you what you've earned. Like it's so painful at times to listen to this stuff. You want a 50-50? Well, then you need to start making a profit for the franchises. You got to start making money for the league. These numbers of arenas where you have 9,000 people going to Napheesa Collier. Your building seats 18,000. You only bring in 9,000 people. Phoenix, your building seats 18, 19,000, bringing 10,000 people. LA, your building seats 18, 19,000, 11,000 people. Seattle, same. Vegas has a full building. They should be playing in T-Mobile. Liberty, same. The only place that fills up their building consistently is Indiana now. It's so bad that Atlanta, Dallas, and Washington play in a closet. Connecticut plays in a 10,000 seat building. Chicago plays in a 10,000 seat building, despite the fact they got the United Center, and neither of those teams can fill up their building. So you tell me you want revenue share, you want 50-50. I'm not arguing jersey sales. I think merch, I think if your jersey sells, you should get money off your jersey. I absolutely do. I agree with you on that one. I agree. But that's a player individual. That's not a team. That's not if I'm Angel Reese, and I'm and my jersey is the second highest selling jersey. I shouldn't be sharing my jersey revenue profit with other people. That's me. It's my name. And so I would, so that's like, I don't know what, again, I don't have all the details. I don't know all the details of how they do this, but I know the most basic thing is that you're not making money. You've not made profit. This league has lost 280 to $300 million over the last 28 years. So you're asking for something that, right now, where what you're getting is a flipping gift, because I'm losing money, but I'm still giving you 9.3% of the total league revenue, which still doesn't cover the expenses of the league. But there are people that will disagree with that and debate it and say it's not true. But hey, it is what it is. I'm flabbergasted. They recognize you in the street now because Caitlin Clark showed up. People's eyes are now on you. And I know there'll be the people that say, oh, the people we've been watching forever. No, you haven't. Everyone that says they've been watching for years is lying. They're just lying. The attendance numbers can tell you that. Just go back and look. It's easy to verify. It's easy to verify the attendance numbers at these games. And even for NBA teams, the ones that don't sell out still sell 17,000 seats to their games. Like, they're pretty much always sold. Most tickets are sold, if not all. That's not the case in WNBA games. They're still largely 50% empty in the real arenas. If you play in a Band-Aid box, I don't give it. Your numbers aren't real. You go play in a real arena and let's see how many you put in the building then. Because you can't fill it up right now in the little closet you play in. So very disappointed in the denseness that Napheesa Collier shows in this video. It seems like it's an epidemic in this league of lying to yourself and lying to what reality truly is. You let me know what your thoughts and comments are. I'd appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and follow. Leave a comment. Ring that bell. This is Rudy's Rant. We talk facts with our feelings. Come on now.